Sheffield Urbanism is an initiative that's been developed by staff and associates at the Urban Institute across lots of the different departments and schools in the Faculty of Social Science here at the University of Sheffield. And what we're really trying to do is change the conditions and the cultures in which we do our work collaboratively. Often the incentives are for people to work in silos, in disciplinary silos, and as individuals, but we want to build a collective research culture. Good ideas don't come from nowhere, they come from dialogue. And so the Sheffield Urbanism community is going to help us dialogue with each other in order to seed new ideas and new approaches to addressing the complex urban challenges that we face.
It's a community of scholars and researchers based at the University of Sheffield that just exists across many different departments and schools who've been working on issues, broadly speaking, urban research issues. And this transcends geographers, planners, political scientists, architects, anthropologists, engineers, a broad range of people who are working on challenges around urban development, urban change, urban communities. So that community is there, but it hasn't really had anything to bring it together.
And in between all of those conversations is a great deal of energy, there's a great deal of connection, and I think that that can help us to think better about the world around us and to act better within it.
So one thing about urban life is that it's really messy. And over the history of different disciplines that have engaged, particularly urban planning, well, what does it mean to engage with that messiness? So can we zoom into particular spaces? Can we zoom out and make new hypotheses and move beyond common sense knowledge that informs a lot of urban studies?
Sheffield Urbanism is an attempt to bring together a really diverse, innovative and exciting community of urban research scholars across Sheffield. Whereas the Urban Institute is a research centre, we have obviously a much wider community of brilliant researchers in the university. And I think it's been great over the last couple of years to see Sheffield Urbanism bringing people together, particularly from departments in which urban studies isn't necessarily the central activity. So for me, that's involved reaching out to people in management, sociology, education, and having conversations that we might not have just as urban geographers.
The urban studies community at Sheffield is quite unique in the sense that it's a space, it's a dialogical space, and it's also an interdisciplinary space where different perspectives, especially global perspective, can come in and work together.
It also matters because we've got a commitment to the next generation of researchers, whether they're PhD students or early career researchers. The PhD experience can be a bit isolating, and the PhD Forum is a really good opportunity for people to learn from each other, to gain some solidarity, to test out their findings in a really safe space, and also to have human conversations and dialogues with their supervisors across the faculty.
The urban studies community in Sheffield is, well, on the one hand, it's very critical. It engages in depth with critical debates about the urban in a way that not perhaps all urban research centres do. But it's also very community oriented. It's very locally rooted at the same time as being globally informed. And I think Sheffield itself is a place where you can see a lot of the global challenges that cities are facing, from issues around climate to a lot of the social and economic challenges that we see, that are quite distinct from what you see in big cities.
It's been 10 years since the Urban Institute was first established as an interdisciplinary faculty research institute here at the University of Sheffield. And we really want to come together with our colleagues within the university, our external collaborators, our community partners, to both celebrate what we've achieved, but also more modestly to think about what we haven't and what the big questions are that we need to be addressing together through our research in the future.
I think the UI really contributes to decolonizing global urban studies and just to decenter global urban studies beyond a metropolitan global north perspective. For example, I work with questions pertaining to infrastructure in low and middle income countries that could really apply also to countries like the UK and places like the north of England and Sheffield. So what could UK cities learn from Southern urbanism decenter approaches, things that communities can do without having all the resources that characterize global north urbanization?
2025 is a very special year in terms of urban research and scholarship at Sheffield. It's 60 years since the Department of Town and Regional Planning was founded, which then became the Department of Urban Studies and Planning, and now the School of Geography and Planning. And we're kicking off the year with a bunch of external facing events, public talks and things, but also some internal workshops where we can work as a community among ourselves. Firstly, to understand where Sheffield urbanism sits within a broader global array of urban research centres, all of which have different expertise and specialisms. So we're trying to understand where we fit within that and what connections we already have and which ones we might want to build. Secondly, we've got a workshop that's designed for thinking about the urban research agendas that we want to pursue ourselves and with our partners over the next 5 to 10 years.
I've come to Sheffield as a visitor because I mainly work at a research institute for housing and urban development in the Netherlands. And I think it's really important that institutions that work on urban challenges have stronger networks, have ways of sharing their resources, sharing their staff and sharing their insights.
I choose Urban Institute because of its very vivid and inspiring research culture related to urban studies.
We are going to be starting our podcast series, which will again bring people together from across the wider Sheffield urbanism community and beyond to look at current issues, current challenges, and place them through an urban lens and understand how cities are receiving some of these big global challenges, but also responding to them and leading the way.
Thank you very much, David and Vanessa.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. It's providing a kind of energy around a forward-looking agenda for where our urban world is taking us and what information and evidence and analysis we need to understand it.
I joined Sheffield University 2017, and even back then people realised it was a really exciting place to do urban research. It's the reason that I chose to come to Sheffield, and I think that over the years that's really reinforced itself, sustained itself, and the community's grown. And it means on any given week I've got my pick of seminars or events or workshops to attend. It means that I have a community of people that are interested in the work that I do, that value the work that I do, and are there to support me through often difficult research processes.
What do I like about the urban studies community here in Sheffield? Firstly, that there's many people working with urban questions here in Sheffield. There are people who work with cities in the global north as well as cities in the global south, and that distinction is not that strong here in Sheffield. We can have conversations across that boundary.
In collaboration with the Urban Institute, I run the Southern Theorizing Group, otherwise known as STING, which is a network of scholars, activists based here in Sheffield but also globally, who work and operate in, with, for Global South and Global Easts. We have been running for 3 years now, and we do a lot of events, we do a lot of interventions, and we do a lot of workshops to further these causes, particularly focusing on early career development and networking.
What I love about the urban studies community here in Sheffield is that there is a real creativity and curiosity that runs across all of the work we do. So that means that you get to hear from people who've done very different research to yours, very different methods. And because we work to try and include activists and those who are living in the realities of cities day to day, it means that you get to share in different people's stories and realities and struggles for the future.
Probably the most exciting part of Sheffield urbanism is not knowing where it is going, given the dynamic nature of lots of the dialogues taking place. And I think having a generative space where there's an open, collegial and reflexive approach to these kind of agendas makes it exciting to answer that. I'm not sure, but it's going to be exciting.
It's a time when people are starting to think globally about the agenda following the Sustainable Development Goals agenda post-2030. So it's common that 5 years before that kind of a benchmark, you'll be thinking about what comes next. And that's why we're partly thinking about where the urban fits into a broader range of collaborative global agendas beyond the next 5 or 10 years.
We've got a really exciting year planned in 2025 to celebrate the anniversaries of urban studies and planning at Sheffield. But beyond that, we really want to change the culture and shift the dial on how we work together as an interdisciplinary urban studies community here at Sheffield. In the long run, that means changing our research culture, building new partnerships, taking time to be collegial and spend with each other. We hope that's going to seed new ideas and collaborations that are ethical, that meet our commitment to decolonial values and practices. And in the long run, I'm really excited to see how we can create a vibrant community where we can really address equitably some of the challenges that we face together here at Sheffield, but also with partners around the world.